千里之行，始于足下. A journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath the feet. We now gather in the Tao to travel the journey together. Welcome to Tao Talks with Eric Lin, where we take a deep dive into the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu. I would like to extend a warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us. I would like to invite you to center your thoughts and direct your attention to this moment in time, to the here and now, to be fully present and mindfully aware as we all ready ourselves for this sacred process in the Tao with one another. The 5 skills are the 5 ideals that we have discussed. We'll look at all of them together in one image, and then we will use comparison and contrast to really clarify them, to bring out the meaning. We will list the 5 down the middle of the slide. And then we'll show how most people are on the left. These are the people who are mostly unaware of the Tao, and therefore they lack the skills of goodness. We compare them with those who follow the Tao on the right. These are the ones that you and I aspire to be. In terms of number, they are much fewer compared to the masses. But these are the people who are aware of the Tao, and they are consistently applying the teachings. They are practicing the skills, so the skills of goodness can flow naturally. So then the 5 skills of goodness starts out with the one about traveling, specifically traveling on the journey of life. Lao Tzu would describe most people are leaving tracks everywhere. That means they want to be seen. They are acting with attachments. They are trying to draw attention to themselves as much as possible, leaving marks like tracks on the road, hoping to be seen. Here, the metaphor is useful because a carriage that is heavy, laden with things, is more likely to leave tracks. In this context, it means actions that carry the burden of attachments are the ones that leave tracks in life. So for many people, their actions tend to have strings attached. Expectations of recognition, expectations of external approval from other people, from society, or expectation of some sort of personal benefits to them. So that's what it means to leave tracks. On the other hand, for the people that follow the Tao and therefore good traveling, that leaves no tracks. This is to say, acting without attachments because there is no need to draw attention. This is realizing the importance of Wu Wei, the non-action or acting without attachments. So for people who study the Tao, Tao sages, Tao cultivators, we ourselves, those people do something because it is a good thing or the right thing to do, not because they need validation or have expectations. They do not expect that there has to be some sort of payback. As a result, they often take actions that seem natural. It flows naturally with events and therefore can go unnoticed. They appear seamless to the perception of ordinary people. The next skill of goodness has to do with speaking. So this is speaking specifically in accordance with the Tao. For most people, it is very common to seek fault, to complain, and point the blame away from themselves. So they speak with accusations. They can be harsh. They can be scolding. They reprimand others and it has a profoundly negative effect. And they may be completely unaware of the negativity of what they say. Those who cultivate the Tao understand the impact of spoken words. Therefore, they follow Tao principles in their communication. They speak without blaming. They focus on the positive side instead. So they are encouraging. When there is a problem, they identify the root cause and focus on the solution more than who exactly to blame. They emphasize that we can come together to fix whatever issue it may be, everybody together, rather than to single out someone who is at fault, someone who is guilty. Already you can see that those who practice such skills of goodness, these are the people that we would prefer to work with, to communicate with. Next is counting. Counting here means keeping track of scores, positive or negative. Lao Tzu observes that many people do indeed practice this kind of tracking. They, quote unquote, use counters. They keep track of favors. They remember the ones who owe them favors. Sometimes they will call it in, which is to say, they request a return favor to repay an assistance that they have provided earlier. On the negative side, they hold grudges. Sometimes they can do that for years. They look for opportunities to even the score. to exact some sort of revenge. And notice what they say. They'll say things like, okay, now we're even. They would not know what even is unless they were keeping track in the first place. So on the other hand, Tao cultivators find all this unnecessary. This tracking of favors and grudges, really, think about it, it's too petty to be worthwhile. Tao cultivators have observed the functioning of karma. They have done so many times for themselves as well as other people. So, from the experience of observation, they know karma is always there, whether it is seen or not. They trust all will balance out. Therefore, they themselves don't need to track anything. They don't need to be concerned with all the back and forth. They can turn their attention to the greater good, just focusing on being helpful to those in need. They believe and know the positive energy that they put out into the world will come back to them one way or another. Next skill, closing. What Lao Tzu says is good closure. This can be interpreted in two ways. Internally, it can mean to close the door in the mind to temptations. Externally, it means close the door to keep people with you. So, for most people, Lao Tzu says they use the wooden bar metaphorically. That is to say, internally, a lot of people find it difficult to keep the door closed because they lack the mental discipline to keep temptations at bay. So they need something. The wooden bar would be the rules that they have to obey to try to help themselves resist temptation. Externally, the lack of the three skills that we have talked about makes it difficult for many people to keep the door closed in the context of keeping people with them. So if they cannot let go of attachments, let go of seeking faults, let go of tracking scores with other people, naturally, others will want to keep their distance. So what about the Tao cultivators? Well, they find it unnecessary to keep the door closed or locked. They use no bars. Metaphorically speaking, that just means they don't need to try to keep people in with them. Their mastery of the first three skills, the first one, unattached action, Wu Wei, not needing to attract attention and claim credit, the Tao of humility, seeking solutions, not to blame someone, to contribute to others without tracking scores, expecting returns. Well, this naturally draws people to them. It's a natural kind of goodness that we all want to be around. So we can completely understand that it would be easy for them to be surrounded by good people. Lastly, we have tying, as in knots. Tying here is using ropes as the metaphor for the connection among people. So for many that don't possess the skills, they may try to use ropes, that is, impress other people with position or status, like they're trying to rope people in to their side. But then once the facade is seen through, they lose the friends that they have made. When they try to create lasting ties, it just doesn't work. People become distant and they cut off contact. People naturally don't want to be around a source of negativity. So, understanding this, knowing the dynamics, Tao cultivators use the Tao, no ropes, to build lasting connections. Lasting connections are built on mutual respect, collaboration, assistance, having common goals, and shared experiences. So, what they forge, even though these connections are not tied together with anything like ropes, they still maintain contact and closeness as if the people are tied together. Together, these are the 5 ways to live in accordance with the Tao. They form a complete picture of the Tao in action in our lives. This is basically showing us how we can move through life gracefully, how we can communicate with other people mindfully, how we can let go of pettiness, entanglements, how we can remain centered so we can build meaningful relationships. They're simple, and yet they're also powerful and practical. If you and I can keep them in constant practice, the goodness from these skills will flow naturally through our lives. And these skills will bring harmony to everything they touch. As described by Lao Tzu, they are, once again, good traveling, good speech, good reckoning, good closure, and good knot. Our meeting has come to an end, but the journey continues on. Until next time, may the Tao fill you with peace and happiness.